Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. I am Jasky. It is a pleasure to have you here joining me on another live where today, I guess the theme is really the power of strategy. Strategy can transform what is potentially a banal and very monotonous and lame outcome and transforming that just by having a better strategy, no matter the level of hard work, no matter work ethic, no matter uh, network, and all of these other factors combined. Whereas the slightest maneuver in having a better strategy, slightest little bit of innovation and thought around strategy can transform that entire situation. You could write 10,000 letters and feel like you have done all the effort and uh, the moonlighting and the sweat, blood, sweat, and tears you could put in to hope you are going to get a tremendous outcome. Or you could spend 1 hour and send 10,000 emails. Even the slightest change in strategy, and the outcome is likely to be multifold better. And, there are many situations where you walk through a shopping mall and you see those people standing at a kiosk, which I still scratch my head to this day thinking, what kind of business strategy is this? The greatest amount of effort to get the least output possible, a slightest tweak of maybe even just picking up a phone and having a curated list and just taking one step in the right direction of strategy could transform results. And why do I preface it with that long fucking painful rant is if you don't know who I am, my name is Jasky. I am Australia's number one street interviewer, having generated 750 million interviews. That is a lot of interviews. 750 million views and over 5,000 interviews where I have tried to employ strategy, which has unlocked many of these opportunities, and not in just this field, in the field of business, in the field of sales, in the field of performance, speaking, all of the above, and obsessing over communication skills my entire life because it was the one thing that I felt could unlock more doors for me than anything else. And how right I have been that is one skill that I feel like anyone can put in the time and effort to do, and it can actually make a humongous difference. But the strategy of interviewing nowadays, with everyone having a microphone like this in front of them, thinking, well, now I am an expert interviewer. There is a slight little bit of strategy that can transform an outcome and have a revolutionary moment. And that sounds like hyperbole, but it is not. But I am going, and I've had those moments. There's sometimes I've just managed to find the right nuance of interviewing someone, and it is millions and millions of views seen by people all across the world, sometimes getting messages from places I didn't even know I was going to reach. And all because I employed a slightly little bit of thinking and strategy. Today, I am going to try and show you how not to do it because I love looking at the how not to as an example and then using that as a comparable or a parallel to figure out how to do it. Because if you can eliminate all the how not tos, then at least you are going to set a baseline which is going to be better than trying to do all these additions. I feel like subtraction for me is easier. Just don't do these fucking things and everything starts to be a little bit better. I'm going to play an interview of the BBC interviewing Andrew Tate. And I need to preface it, I have no political views. I have no interest in discussing the beliefs and the ideologies of Andrew Tate. I don't care. That's not anything to do with this channel. But why I use someone like him is he's a polarizing figure. He knows what you are going in for. And it is interesting to analyze how the interviewer has not done it very well. Because you know what you're going into, and you'll see this as soon as I play this clip. And then to still do it in that manner is just the dumbest thing you could possibly do. And I don't put that lightly because it just didn't work. Okay. So let me play the interview. I'll then give you some commentary. I'll pause it and I'll try and pause it less than I normally do because one of the comments I get is, stop fucking pausing it, bro. So I won't. And then, I'll show you some of the interesting learnings I've had from listening to this interview and applying it to the various things that I have done in a similar space. Okay. Let me make myself in the middle. There you go. I'm joining the interview. I'm now the table. They can rest their cups on my head. Anyway, all right. Let's play it. I'll let it run through for a minute, and I'll come back and I'll punch it in.
Andrew Tate,
Hello.
you've agreed to do an interview with
I said I wasn't going to pause it. I realized I just gave you no pretext why the audio of this is so poor and why it is this kind of like a very, very, very poor version of a video. And the reason is there is a BBC televised version, which was a highly chopped and edited version to suit whatever narrative they had. This was, I believe, captured by Andrew's team and just put out there as a very unedited version of the interview. So which is what I love. I love to see, and that's why I love doing lives, because you can see if I am going to be assisting you with communication skills, I should be able to do it in a live format, not in some edited, curated version of the best thing that I can present to you. So, yeah, this was why the audio is so weird and why the angle is just so whack for an interview is because it is taken from a camera that was put in the room for the one that wasn't actually televised by the BBC.
the BBC today.
Yep.
The material is going to be published on television, on radio, online.
Perfect.
We are doing an interview with you because you're facing some very serious allegations,
Correct.
rape, human trafficking,
Yep.
and also because there's a great deal of concern about the things you say and the impact that they have on young people, on women.
I don't think the concern's about the things I say. I think the concern is for the level of influence I have and the reach I have. I would argue that a lot of the things that are already out there inside of the legacy media and the matrix as a whole are far more damaging than the things I say.
It's the concern about the influence you have being a harmful influence, but let's start with the
Okay, let me pause it there for a second, and I'll provide a little bit of commentary here, and then I'll replay it, and hopefully you can spot the things that I've noted down in this interview here. Now, ignore me, I'm just punching through 1.25 liters of sparkling water. So if I just involuntarily burp throughout this, it is disgusting, and that is not what I should be drinking while recording a live. Or if I need to just it's like testing my bladder. It's like having bladder control while doing it live. Do two things at once. Anyway, the things you'll notice, back to the topic on hand, the things you will notice, which is very, very important at the start of an interview. And having done so many interviews, you, regardless of your own personal opinions, your personal biases, maybe even the biases of your media channel and whatever else, all the baggage that comes with it. I cannot fathom why an interviewer would bring any of that to the table. Which I might be naive, I might be stupid in that sense of not understanding why you would bring any of that baggage in, because it's like, well, we work for a media channel. Here's kind of the narrative we're trying to disseminate here. So I just think if you notice this, she came in. Firstly, if you just purely analyze the initial greeting between both parties, the greeting itself is incredibly strange. It is, like, let's just see if I can get a freeze frame here. Like you can see, Andrew, his initial greeting is generally like avert. Not I'm not jumping through a bunch of wheat fields, having one of the most marvelous days in the world. But he's warm. He's smiling. He's says, "Good. How are you?" Tries to start with some level of warmth. It's like a pleasant expression. It doesn't look like he's coming here for a fight. Obviously, if they've recorded it, I imagine he knows there is going to be a level of hostility and a kind of antagonistic, confrontational approach here. He knows it, but starting generally quite warm. Whereas on the left, the interviewer, first and foremost, hands crossed against the lower part of the body. It's traditionally well, there's a term for it called, it sounds weird, but it's called genital blocking. And it is the first intuitive reaction that typically females have to block the lower abdomen area is when there is a level of stress and feeling of defensiveness. And there's no body language of openness. The smile seems like a forced smile, like, oh, I've just got to do this smile because I have to. And then, there could be nerves around this. So, body language is never conclusive. I'm not some body language expert. I've tried to study it as much as I can to try and understand these little nuances because it allows me to do better interviews. But purely even from the words, let's just play it back for a second, which is very, very interesting to listen into. Let's just play through.
Hello.
You've agreed to do an interview. Andrew Tate.
Hello.
No hello. No hello. Just Andrew Tate. Not a and the context here is I think he's just come out of prison. Like he was just in Romanian prison and he has just been out on bail or whatever, or his charges were cleared. I don't know the whole backstory. No, like, hey, you're out of jail. How does it feel? Or I don't know. What was it like? You don't have to like the person, but at least this is the difference where I don't understand how you can come in with this level of inherent bias. You can at least try to have some pleasantries. As a professional, you need to be able to create a little bit of rapport. Some of the greatest conversations and some of the greatest moments that I've managed to have may have started off with incredible levels of resistance, having to climb up a very steep mountain, but by building enough rapport, by trying to have pleasantries. Hey, how are you? There's no harm in asking, how are you? Even if you fucking hate the person, and it's, for me, it's evidently clear she has a huge dislike for him. You can see it. But at least you have to try as a professional, build a little bit of rapport. Why? Because that is how you get the best outcomes. You don't get the best outcomes. I mean, there's a different type of interview where you can just be hardcore confrontational in the hopes that extreme tension is amazing for people to watch, but it isn't going to be extracting any new information. It's not going to get anything. It's not going to get anything memorable. You're not going to get a perspective that people are going to share. None of that. You're just going to see this incredible amounts of tension, and then that's it. Like it's not the best achievement for a journalist trying to conduct an interview. So she's hunched over, squeezed in. It's like someone is squishing toothpaste out of a tube. And, the genital blocking is indicating some level of stress, defensiveness, whatever. And then no pleasantries, no even trying to build any rapport. Just, hello, how are he's saying, hello, how are you? Or hello. She's like, Andrew Tate. Crazy. Let's play it back again.
You've agreed to do an interview with the BBC today.
Yep.
The material is going to be published on television, on radio, online.
Perfect.
We are doing an interview with you because you're facing some very serious allegations.
Correct.
Rape, human trafficking.
Yep.
And also because there's a great deal of concern about the things you say and the impact that they have on young people, on women.
I don't think the concern's about the things I say. I think the concern is for the level of influence I have and the reach I have. I would argue that a lot of the things that are already out there inside of the legacy media and the matrix as a whole are far more damaging than the things I say.
Okay, a couple of things now when the interview's kicked off already on a generally pretty hostile manner from the get-go, which is very strange, right? Very strange for me, and I've kind of explained that in great lengths. But what you do notice, see, this is the power of the sparkling water. I'm going to stop drinking that because I can feel like the bubbles just consistently wanting to come out of my body instead of just staying in. I don't know. I should get some sponsorship. Hey, this brand, a generic Woolworths brand of sparkling water. Do you want to sponsor this live? No, don't. Who does? I'm talking about Andrew Tate. No one's going to sponsor this. Now, sh- uh, now I've lost my train of thought. Is basically what I was trying to get at was when you are extracting information in an interview, you got to have a clear point of what you're trying to uncover. And then the aim is until that point has been, until you feel satisfied with what you have been able to extract from that one frame, you're framing a question, you're framing a point with some sort of language, and you have managed to extract what you need, then move on. Okay. Or there is some external or there's there's external things happening. There is whatever like that disallow you from continuing on that line of questioning. Okay, but if there isn't, I think you've got to be able to maintain your frame. That is the absolute baseline of an interviewer's just 101 requirements. Okay, so let me repeat that. As an interviewer, the baseline is you have to be clear on what your framing is, and then you've got to stick to the frame, right? Do not allow the interviewee to now get you to pivot from your frame because firstly, you've lost control of the interaction unless you strategically allowed a pivot so you can move back to the framing. Maybe this sounds vague. Let me try and be clear with an example. I am trying to extract whether you stole this bottle from your neighbor, okay? And you have a line of questioning where you are trying to ascertain if you have stolen that bottle. So you're asking, hey, I have some level of suspicion on that day that you were not in your house and you were in your neighbor's house. And the person tries to pivot into something. Well, it's not about theft. It is about, was I a good husband? Yeah, something hella random that is kind of adjacent, but not really answering the question. And you go, well, about being a good husband is also important. And you just allow yourself to pivot, right? Not the best example, but you get what I mean. You are trying to keep the frame on the questioning. Were you in the neighbor's house at that point? And the reason I mention that is you can see this is quite evident here, is the moment she's asking about what level of impact that his words have and blah, blah, blah. And he just goes, well, it's not about my words. It's not about the substance. It is about my influence, right? All the government and the matrix and all the words he used are worried about my influence. And he quickly just switches to a completely different frame. And she lets him pivot immediately. So let me just play it back again.
Serious allegations.
Correct.
Rape, human trafficking.
Yep.
And also because there's a great deal of concern about the things you say and the impact that they have on young people, on women.
I don't think the concern's about the things I say. I think the concern is for the level of influence I have and the reach I have. I would argue.
So there you go. Not about the concerns I say, it's concerns about the influence and the reach I have. At that point, you've got to stop and say, here's what you said. Because you're trying to get to the wording of what he is saying, not about some influence and reach, right? That is not the point of this conversation. And he's already maneuvering the conversation to a different frame because maybe he doesn't want to be pinpointed on the things he may have said, because that can be a lot more damning than just some esoteric, vague political discussion about influence and reach, because you cannot pinpoint anything about that. Right?
That a lot of the things that are already out there inside of the legacy media and the matrix as a whole are far more damaging than the things I say.
It's the concern about the influence you have being a harmful influence, but let's start with the allegation.
And again, she allows it. She talks about, oh, well, yeah, you are a harmful influence. And the original question was about things that he is saying that are negative towards women and promoting negativity, allowing other people to be negative towards women. That's what I think she was framing it as. And then immediately decides to pivot by taking the carrot that he's stretched out, and she's grabbing onto the carrot and just going into a completely different direction. Yeah, not good. You got to stick to your frame.
Not necessarily a harmful influence. The fact that I'm massively influential over the youth, and I understand that. but it's my influence as a whole which people are afraid of, not necessarily the things I say.
Let's start with the allegations. Have you raped anybody?
And then also this is you can see right in that moment, this is not how I don't look, we're going to watch it so we can see how this pans out. But I can tell you, you do not preface this kind of a discussion with this level of hostility from the get-go if you are actually trying to get something out of the other person. At this moment, he's completely shut off. He is completely in combative. We are now in a boxing ring. We are hands up. We're ready to fight. I am in defensive mode, or I'm going to attack, or whatever. But I'm not here. I'm not open. I'm not here sharing something with you. I've got no connection to you. I'm now in complete combative. We are enemies. Well, I may be exaggerating, but we are now no longer. I'm shutting off. I'm giving you as little as possible. I'm going to try and get the benefits out of this as I can, but I'm not here open because I don't feel open. And this is 1 minute. Are we even 1 minute? 1 minute, 7 seconds into the interview. No rapport has been built. There's been nothing here that is indicating there is going to be a positive outcome, unless the outcome of this entire interview was to be one combative clip of just pure, just pure tension of two people clashing heads, which entertaining, but as in the short term, but longevity in terms of anything meaningful, any messaging, moving, any sort of narrative, or having any relatability for people to actually remember the interview? Zero, right? Zero. You cannot build anything meaningful in the media by just a very tense interaction that doesn't extract any meaningful information.
Absolutely not.
Have you trafficked anybody?
Absolutely not.
Sorry, I'm going
Not
to backtrack a
necessarily
second.
Let's start with the allegations. Have you raped anybody?
Absolutely not.
Have you trafficked anybody?
Absolutely not.
Exploited any women for
Absolutely
money?
not.
But you have admitted using emotional manipulation to get women to work in the webcam industry for.
A couple of things I want to point out here is better to be in the other frame. Her body language, and you can see the eyebrows that using one of these, right? So the things to notice about the eyebrows do give away a lot in body language. And again, I'm prefacing this, not some whatever biophysical body language, whatever, right? It's just things I have analyzed and spent a lot of time analyzing to know how I can open up people. That sounds very Dexter-like. Open up people for kidney harvesting. How I can do that effectively using my eyebrows. How I can get people to open up to get the information I need, right? How can you understand body language better? So, and I have studied thousands and thousands, watched it back. So this is just my perspective, is the eyebrows give away a lot, okay? And the eyebrows are typically used as surprise, right? In a social setting, like a little, indication that, yeah, hey, I've seen you. Or they use in a level of emphasis. But sometimes when someone is a little bit uncertain or a little bit apprehensive in what they are trying to ask or say, that follows it slightly follows the eyebrows, is one of, you see her doing this repeatedly, is raising the eyebrows when she's trying to ask something, because when trying to ask something that she knows is confrontational. But she is doing it because there's a level of apprehension, but she's exaggerating with the eyebrows to hopefully showcase her emphasis and confidence. Why I bring that up is because when you notice that, it is essentially a lowering in her status, because lowering in her status in the meaning of her having some level of confidence in asking that question, because her body is indicating she's a little bit apprehensive about asking it. Okay, that was a very long-winded way of explaining. She's a little bit apprehensive. Her body's indicating she's not fully confident in asking these questions. Okay, and what that does is it gives someone who at the other end is used to this combative environment a little bit of extra power. You can't control the eyebrows. I'm not just saying. That's just me noticing that I think that's what's happening. Okay. In that she's incredibly nervous in asking these questions. And when someone can notice you are nervous in asking those questions, they can use that to their advantage. Right? If you know someone's nervous and they're trying to put you on the spot, you'll use it to your advantage. Okay? So you kind of train yourself better to not be nervous in those situations. And how do you do it? Practice, or find a coach. I do coaching, but I only do very short, limited coaching, 5 people onboarded every month. You can go on the website. I'm sure the links are down below, jaski.me, jaskisingh.com is the plug, High Stakes Communication Academy, 90-minute diagnosis, 6-month accountability. By the end of it, you will be an absolutely transformed communicator. But that's enough of a plug if that's what you were hoping to achieve. The other thing you notice here, or I notice, or you should notice.
You have admitted using emotional manipulation to get women. Manipulation. Admitted.
No, trying to get
trafficked anybody?
Absolutely.
Have you raped anybody?
Absolutely not.
Have you trafficked anybody?
Absolutely not.
Exploited any women for
Absolutely
money?
not.
3 back-to-back questions about allegations, jumping straight in with allegations. This is 1 minute 15 into an interview. I've stretched it out to 26 minutes of me talking. I apologize. But 1 minute 15 into the interview and 3 open-ended questions. These are open-ended questions. Have you this? Have you this? Have you this? It's a yes or no answer. It's completely pointless. You're having an open-ended question, you're going to get a yes or a no. And it is okay to have a yes or a no, right? If you're trying to get something on the record. But it's better to ask, better to ask open-ended questions, not closed-ended questions, right? So I switched it there. She's asking closed, like, oh, yes, no. If you have open-ended questions, you can get answers that lead to something more meaningful, that lead to something that's a little bit substantive. As an interviewer, if you're just going to run in with 3 questions that have yes or no answers right at the top of your interview, when you've developed very little rapport, it's turning into a courtroom. It's no longer it's no longer a productive interview, right? Because what is the goal here? What is the goal? Is to get it on record that have you this, have you this, have you this, right? Is that it? And then just leave it up to the comments for people to judge whether he did or not. Pointless. It's taking that interview not even 1 step further. So when coming into the interview, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get on record a yes or no answer to 3 very closed questions? And then, he says, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not. And then he floods it with denial. And then that just confuses the waters again and goes nowhere. And that is exactly what I was saying was going to happen. You haven't set up any rapport up front. There's been no connection. It's been adversarial from the get-go. And then 3 back-to-back yes or no questions leading to a muddying of the waters, changing of the frame, and there is no control. There's no through line in this interview whatsoever. So I'll let it play.
But you have admitted using emotional manipulation to get women to work in the webcam industry for you.
No. Firstly, let's begin let's start at the beginning. I'm facing charges. The first one you mentioned, the rape one, is already been thrown out by a judge because there's no evidence of it. Secondly, it's very difficult for me to sit here and have a very frank and honest conversation with you while we're in the territory of Romania about a legal case that's going on within Romania. I have to protect myself. I've agreed to do an interview with you, and I want to be as honest with you as possible. But I can't incriminate myself in any way, and I have to be very careful with what I talk about.
There are no charges yet.
Legal case that's going on within Romania. I have to protect myself. I've agreed to do an interview with you.
And notice this bit here. This is interesting. Again, body tells you sometimes more than words will ever tell you. And it's the first time you see him changing his body language. And it's him moving forward, leaning in, right? And leaning in, this is not for assertion. It is to try and again using symmetrical hands, which is to show I'm being balanced. Because when you're trying to be a little bit more aggressive, determined, it's normally a single hand. You know, the single hand motion is like, "Ugh, I am, asserting this. I've got confidence in this thing. Whereas when you're using a double symmetrical motion, one of these, it's a little bit more. I'm trying to showcase to you I'm balanced. He's moving in. His eyebrows move up as well, which is now again the appearance of me overemphasizing the thing I'm trying to say. Again, trying to me reading into this, feign a level of honesty. Lean in. Yes, I'm trustworthy. There is what I'm saying to you. What I'm saying to you here is me being incredibly open and honest with you. I can't talk to you about it because there's a legal case going on right now. The entirety of the interview, he's sitting back, he's leaning back with his fingers, which you notice in a lot of interviews are like this. And sometimes people have these unusual bits, unusual little mannerisms or body language that allows them to access it's like anchoring an emotion, right? It's NLP mechanism that you can use. Essentially, you have, I used to use this where I touch the third and the thumb finger, so the third finger and the thumb, touching it, it kind of triggers a pre-programmed where you've just done it so many times that same motion, and you've tried to align it with a particular emotion. So when you want to recall that emotion, by doing that motion, it recalls that emotion because you have now used it as a trigger. And I feel like there is something that he does for that when he wants to be very still, calm, determined, confidence, maybe coming out for war. He does one of these, right? This is my assessment of it. Again, might be wrong. But when he leans forward, uses the whole balance motion, his eyebrows, he's trying to feign a level of, I'm being honest, open, you should trust me. And normally when someone does that, I don't normally trust them. Anyhow.
And I want to be as honest with you as possible. But I can't incriminate myself in any way, and I have to be very careful with what I talk about.
There are no charges yet.
Correct, there are no charges.
Has said that
there are no
more
charges,
evidence
and I've agreed to speak to you, but I have to be as honest and frank as I can while also protecting myself and following my legal counsel.
So let's talk about what you've said yourself then. You have said on the website, for your original website for the Hustlers University, that you emotionally manipulated women to fall in love with you so that you could get them working in the sex industry for your financial gain.
As I said, I have to be very careful with what I say, but let's put it this way. No women are coming out against me and accusing me of doing it.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Before I even let this continue playing, so what is she asking? No, I've forgotten. Let me just play it back for a second.
Working in the sex industry for your financial gain.
Right. So she says, you have said in the past that you've had women, you manipulated women to work with you so you can make money off them by being in the sex industry. And he again switches the frame very quickly, pivots it by saying, there are certain things I can talk about, but in my history, if you notice, no women have come out to, file some charges against some variation of that. And it's not answering the question. He is an expert at quickly maneuvering and changing the frame very quickly and just quite kind of moving it adjacent, just doing a little. It's one of those little quick little magician sleight of hand moves with cards, and you don't notice it. It's done very quickly. But as an interviewer, you have got to be cognizant of these little sleights of hand, and you've got to go back to your frame because you are talking about things he said, and now you're in a tussle about whether charges have been laid against him by women in general. So you're allowing the frame to be pivoted very quickly, and it doesn't. Again, it's you've come in with an intention of achieving some sort of outcome from this interview. And you've allowed the interviewee to use the strategy. I said it right at the top of this live is strategy. You've got to come in with a clear strategy of how you're going to tackle this person, knowing that this is the kind of behaviors that they will utilize at all times, these strategies that they will utilize. They're expert at these sort of interviews. And the first moment of a frame switch, you let them go, you let them fucking do it. You let them move, you let them pivot immediately, and you just follow them down this path. That's poor. That's a nice way of putting it. That's very nice. That's not how, you got to be able to revert back to the main frame. Let me play it for you.
As I said, I have to be very careful with what I say, but let's put it this way. No women are coming out against me and accusing me of doing it.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. Who?
See, yes, they are. Yes, they are. If that was to be done properly, at that moment, she should. I'll use one of these frames. At that moment, she should go back to the original questioning. Have you ever convinced the women to convince women, not the women, convince women to work in the sex industry for your financial gain? That was the original question. Don't start arguing about criminal charges. Now you got to a different question. You fucked the whole thing up. Stay in line with the original questioning. Some of the best moments I have been able to extract from people in interviews are by knowing a clear frame and sticking to that frame. And until you have uncovered or satisfied with what you've uncovered, stay there, because that is what you came to get. which she hasn't done here, unfortunately. It's not been done very well. All right.
Testimony from the current investigation.
The current investigation, which I cannot discuss, which I know intimately and you don't, I can tell you right now.
Again, you've allowed him to
the women
pivot.
who
He's
are
pivoting into a
in
completely
this
different frame.
case file. There are 2 American women who have been caught already admitting they're lying, and then nobody else is accusing me of anything.
Let me read you then what you have said about
Sure.
what you have done.
Sure.
You have said,
And now, again, sorry to pause it again, because I know I said at the top I wasn't going to pause a million times. And just for those people following, I'm halfway through the bottle. That's halfway through 1.25 liters. So along with communication skills training, you are also seeing me do bladder training. It's a double bonus, 600 mils already inside the body, and we're still here. Amazing. I'm not a 85-year-old man with the bladder of a tsunami. So here we go. Good. At least you know I am not going to be incontinent and piss and shit myself. No one came in with that question. I've just, again, I've pivoted the frame and you had no idea. That's why I'm an expert. Now, I'm going to lose train of what I was actually going to say, which is amazing, because I came here for one purpose and I keep talking about this sparkling water. She came in asking him about a question. And the question was, I've already harped on it. And then he moved to something about criminal charges. But then she never actually consulted any evidence. He said it's in the court. She mentioned, well, he said, where did you get this information? Well, it's in your current case. Okay, show it to us. Show us the evidence. Bring it up. Is there a video? Is there some snippet? Is there a reference article from a reputable agency or media outlet or something that's been verified? Show it. Put it in front of him. Hey, here it is. Okay? Because if you're claiming there is something that you are using as foundational evidence to question the guy, just be like, yo, here it is. What do you think? If you're coming in seemingly prepared with all these questions and these points about blah, 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 and then when asking the interviewee the question and he claims no, be like, well, yeah, here it is, dude. Right here. You see that? Right there. This is the article that states that this is what she said. Or here's the video, dude. Have a look. You can watch it. All right, what do you think? Nothing. Put it in front of him, and he is going to have to answer to it. He's going to have to respond in some way. For people watching right now, he speaks with such level of confidence, and she's just throwing out all these vague claims and ambiguous social proof, some women, most women, all women, and all these vague things. Well, let's put it into specifics. Because if you put it in front of him, And there is no dodging of bullets, which he's an expert at. He can expertly dodge bullets all day. He's been doing it his entire career. And you know that. That's not a surprise to you. This is not a stranger, like a stranger I would meet on the street, and I don't know their mannerisms and behaviors and any sort of past history. You know what Andrew Tate does. Fucking most of the world knows what he does. He's very quick. He's very good at avoiding questions and switching frames and maneuvering. Well, put the evidence in front of him. I mean, it's just baseline 101 of interviewing. And I'm kind of shocked that you would make these claims and then just not put it up. It's anyhow, let's sound like a broken record. So let's keep playing so I can drink some more sparkling water. How good.
My job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
I don't think that's what I personally said. I think that's
exactly what
no,
you said
that's
on your
that's
website.
that's
Again, that's exactly what you said. Where is it? Show me. Come on. Bring it up on a phone. Bring it up on a video. Have a printout, something. Bring it up because the evidence speaks for itself. You're bringing receipts. The person has to respond. Where is it? Where is it? Show us. I've got issues.
No, I've never said that. That's something that you found on the internet. Doesn't mean I've said it. And again, once again, if any female on the planet has a problem with me, I strongly recommend her to go to the police and try and pursue me for criminal charges. It's actually very interesting that me, one of the most famous people in the world, who's been vilified by the legacy media and placed all over the internet, while everyone has attacked me from every single angle, while federal agencies from multiple countries have called over 2,000 women who know me, we stand here with 0 new accusations since my arrest. 0. If you took any famous person, any man of substantial wealth, and you called 2,000 women who knew him, you'd find an ex-girlfriend is upset, somebody who wants money who's upset. They called 2,000 people who knew me and could not find a single woman to make a new complaint. The only complaints they have against me are the initial complaints, which we can prove are lies.
Exactly.
As I said, he is an expert. He is an expert at in these sort of environments. You're putting in someone who's a Olympic level, an Olympian of combative interviews, right? I don't know how better to put it. That's all this guy deals with. That's all he does, right? Like him or not, I don't have an opinion on it, but that's all this dude does. And what is your strategy? What is your plan of handling this type of situation? Vagaries, like just strange, esoteric comments, some this, some that, like using these terms that no one can verify. Like what has she said? Schools are concerned, organizations are worried, police are naming you. There's this crisis. What about exact quotes, dates, specific reports, data, like things that do not allow him to continuously frame switch? And he knows he's pinpointed the thing. There are no criminal charges against him by a female. I believe that's what he continuously repeats. So he knows he can go on this long diatribe of just various flooding of information. He can continuously regurgitate saying, hey, this is one point that I can continuously switch the frame to at all times because I believe it's true. I mean, he might know it's true, or he can lean on it being true and it can't be proven wrong. So he continuously switches to that. Has any women, out of all these women, 2,000 women, blah, 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 has anyone ever lodged a criminal case against me? Has anyone done it? Well, maybe the answer is no. Maybe I'm assuming it's no, because he continuously brings it up. And then if he continuously brings it up, he knows he can lean on it. No matter what you say, he will switch. So if you know that's going to happen, right? If you know you're going to be boxing someone and their only move is going to be like a haymaker, what do you call it? Like a side swing cut. I don't know. I don't box. So why don't I use that as an example? But anyway, we're in this now, so we got to keep going. If you're boxing and the person uses side swing cuts, one of these, side swing cuts, and you know that's coming, be prepared for it. Maybe use one of the HDMI PS5 elbow things, right? Do one of the little noggle tosses, as we call them, like one of these, right? Because you know that nullifies the upper slice maker, right? If you know that that's what's coming, you know what to do to negate it, right? And it's not working here. You can't negate his frame switching by just following him along and just saying a bunch of things like, "No, it's not. It's not correct. No, I don't. It's not." Okay, okay. You can't just say, "No, it's not." What are you going to do? Have something to negate it. Either do not allow the frame switch by saying, "Here's what I'm showing you. Answer this. This is your quote on your website. Here's a screenshot. Answer this." Or I don't know, whatever other things you have in your arsenal. If you don't have evidence, maybe you have the ability to be very flirtatious with him, and being flirtatious might disarm him and he'll say some shit. I don't know. Have a better strategy than just combative against an all-time combative person. That sounds like a very dumb strategy. Oh, sorry. Hold it in. Let's keep going.
Those things that with you, it's all manipulation. There's an ulterior.
Is this Sophie?
Everything.
Is this Sophie? Oh, it's Sophie. The fake name, no face, the story that was
wanting
invented.
to please him and wanting him to be happy, that I was just kind of, yeah, okay, do whatever you want.
And what is she accused? Has she accused me of a crime? This imaginary Sophie?
Again, see, he leans on it. Has this person accused him of a crime? He knows I'm telling you, this is the playbook. He's going to switch the frame. He switches the frame to has she ever tried to charge him on a crime? Has she ever accused him of a crime? Because he answers no, and that's the one thing he knows he can always move to.
He's making the point that there is.
Has she accused me of a crime?
Emotional or psychological manipulation.
I've asked you a question, and I've allowed you into my house.
Has she accused me of a crime? Has she accused me of a crime? He knows. In fact, as the interviewer, here's a great example. As the interviewer, he's doing a better job than the interviewer. Right? Let me say that again. As the interviewer, which he's not, he's the interviewee, he is doing a better job right now than the interviewer, because he is pinpointing the thing that he knows he wants to achieve out of this, and he will continuously try and maintain the frame through a level of aggression and repetition, which is what an astute interviewer should be able to do. It doesn't have to be in an aggressive manner. It can be a different strategy. And that's what the whole point of this video is. But he does it. Has she accused me of a crime? Has she accused me of a crime? Hey, has this fake person accused me of a crime? And then, let's just watch it back and see what happens.
That there is.
Has she accused me of a crime?
Emotional or psychological manipulation.
I've asked you a question, and I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you a question.
Correct, but you're not the boss here, because I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you the question.
Correctly, and I'm telling you.
You get to decide the answers.
No, we're equal here. I've allowed you into my house. You don't come here with a position of authority. I'm doing you the favor as legacy media, giving you relevance by speaking to you. And I'm telling you now, this Sophie, which the BBC has invented, which there's no face of, nobody knows who she is.
The BBC did not invent.
Of course not. And because you never invent anything. And she.
I mean, it is hilarious that he says we're equals while he's asserting dominance. It's kind of funnily ironic. He's like asserting dominance by saying, "I've hosted you, I've given you relevance, I'm doing you a favor, but we're equals," right? So that there is a bit of irony in there. But he again controls the frame, because he again takes the power in this situation and says, "This is my house. I've invited you here. You don't get to be the person that takes the power here. Blah 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 blah." But again, instead of going into another part of the details, the things here not done right in terms of an interviewer is the ability to have control of the questioning. He's now trying to assert power because he's pissed off. He said, "I want you to answer my question." She said, "I'm not answering your question." And someone who has such an inflated ego, which we know he does, which she knows he does, which everybody knows he does, that's not how you tackle it. That's really not how you tackle it. You can't tackle it by opposing him, saying, "I'm not going to answer your question. Go fuck yourself." It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Ego clashing versus ego is not going to be the answer. Unfortunately, it's got to be Ego versus information. You are here for information, or are you here trying to assert you are more powerful than Andrew Tate? That's not going to work, because he will always try to assert power in a moment of war of words, right? War of egos. I feel like we're going to see a similar pattern, so I'll let it play for a minute, and then hopefully I will jump back in and do some commentary. But yeah, let's just let it run for a minute.
She's not filed criminal charges against me. What are we talking about here? On the court? Sophie doesn't
And
exist.
I'm describing women who have spoken to the BBC at length
Sophie doesn't exist.
and other media organisations about what they say is emotional manipulation and coercion. And I'm quoting back to you your own words where you describe
They're not my words.
coercion.
They're words
and
you
emotional
found.
manipulation.
They're words you found on the internet, and Sophie doesn't exist.
On your
So let's move on to
website,
the next
in
subject.
your voice.
Move on to the next subject.
No, I think I'll stick on this one for a minute. So there's other places.
Again, she has such an incredible ego in this interview that it is overriding the interview. And that's just harming it. Anytime he tells her no, she wants to say no, just to be, I am the more powerful person here. It's like you can't come in salty into an interview. It doesn't work. I just have never seen someone incredibly salty get a positive outcome of an interview. What is the goal she was going in with? By being so antagonistic, by being so combative, again, to someone who does this day in, day out. He thrives in adversarial environments. He is comfortable in confrontation. She's giving him exactly that. When someone is strong in conflict, the smarter strategy is stay calm, stay forensic, minimal emotional tone, short questions, pinning structure. Instead, you're playing into his arena. And it's because she has, what my feeling is, a incredible ego in this whole thing, that I am going to better Andrew. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to conquer Andrew Tate by being more Andrew Tate than him. No chance. It's not going to fucking work. I just don't see how that's possible. It's the dumbest strategy. I'm sorry. It is. I can't sugarcoat that. It's not a good strategy. And what was the goal here? We're seeing the same pattern play out. What was the goal? Was it to actually get information? We haven't got anything. How many minutes into this interview here? 5 minutes, 12 seconds. There's no information. Nothing new. Nothing on the record, nothing he's admitted to, nothing he's even shared, nothing. There's just entertaining tension. And I get that. That's part of content. That's part of what people love to watch. I find tension interesting. Many interviews are filled with tension. But sometimes it is about strategically using tension to your advantage. And in this case, I don't understand the goal of this entire interview. Up till now, it is the same repeated pattern of a battle of egos. And you're sitting across from someone who has one of the largest in the world. And you're trying to out-ego a person with that of the size of a hot air balloon. It's just nonsense.
This is in that same website where you say you get girls to fall in love with you and they do it because they love you, because they want to do what you say. Convincing women to take part in some kind of business arrangement doesn't work long term because they're emotional. You've got to get them to fall in love with you. That's coercion, that's emotional manipulation, that's abuse.
What you've found are clips.
Again, that's abuse. You're trying to create judgment on someone. And by judgment on someone, they're going to become defensive. They're not going to open up. You're not going to get anything out of them. You're essentially just continuing the antagonistic method of interviewing. So yeah, I don't understand. And I guarantee you right here, where she said all these things that he said on the internet, he's going to deny it, right? Mark my words, he's going to deny it. And then she's going to have no evidence. She's going to bring nothing up. Nothing is going to be brought up here. And then we'll go around in circles. He'll move the frame somewhere. And then we're back at square one. No better strategy than just saying some vague shit, him maneuvering, denying it. You have nothing to lean on to. And then we're back at square one. Let's play it out.
From the internet, some text from the internet, and you're going to sit here and tell me that that's the reason I should be
Your website, your words.
It's not my website.
Yes,
There
it
you go.
is.
No, it's
Denial.
not. Check my website. Next.
I'm asking you about the testimony you've given on your website and the testimony women have given
You've
about
printed
you.
something off that you found on Reddit, and you're going to sit here and say that that makes me a bad person. And I'm saying that you should know better as a journalist and do some proper journalism. Let's investigate the fact that
I think
thousands...
you should answer my questions
I am.
properly.
I am. I already have.
And there, he's actually said the thing that I have been saying thus far. Be a journalist and ask me questions, because he knows this is not going anywhere. Again, like I said, it played out. He's denied it. Not on my website. It's not there. She's like, yeah, it is. No one watching that gets anything more. Not even one iota is it moving further. Because now we just believe that what he's saying is kind of correct, because he speaks more confidently. He can just say a bunch of words, and he's very confident, very clear, very articulate. He's a great speaker. He's an incredible communicator. Maybe he doesn't need my training, but if he does, High Stakes Academy, Andrew Tate, I might consider you as one of the 5 people to onboard. We can make something work. I'm very busy, but I can make something work. If you can afford it, cool. I'll take one of the Bugattis, the green one. Anyhow, if he's a very good communicator, he knows he can get out of those situations. So again, denial, move, done. And then he's saying, as a journalist, you should be doing a better job here, which is kind of sad that he can say that to a journalist and she has no retorts. It just indicates how poorly this interview has gone.
And you're going to sit here and say that that makes me a bad person. And I'm saying that you should know better as a journalist and do some proper journalism. Let's investigate the fact that thousands...
I think you should answer my questions.
And again, I think you should answer my question. It's the worst response you can have.
I already have.
I think you should answer. It's just someone who's sitting there so salty, so angry from the get-go. It's like she's come in charged and everyone's just fed her that, oh, I hate this man so much. But your job is, it's like, I mean, it's not a good example, but it's like you really hate a particular area, but you're a plumber and you're like, oh, I'm in this fucking area. I'm a plumber. I'm just going to really just do the bare minimum on these pipes. And then just hopefully they blow up in a week. You're a professional. You're going in there to do some work. Put all those other things aside and do the job properly. I don't quite understand why she's coming across so salty. It's jarring. It's frustrating.
Do you believe I'm the most dangerous man in the world, Lucy?
I'm not answering your questions.
Well, then we need to change the dynamic of this interview because, and I'll make this clear, I allowed you into my home. I'm doing you a favor, giving you the first interview I'm giving to the public. You don't come here with a position of authority. You're not the police. I don't respect the BBC. I don't know you. You do not come here with a position of authority over me. We are equals. We are people. We're citizens of the world, and we sit here as equals. And I see you as my equal, and if you ask me questions, I can ask you questions back.
And you can see why he went on this elaborate rant, because she is, again, I'm saying the same thing. She has this huge ego sitting there like all crossed and all like frustrated and angry and salty and pissed off and just wanted to be antagonistic and just say some blunt shit. And the moment he asked a question, I'm not answering your questions. It's unbelievable behavior to come in as a journalist, as an interviewer for a large media corporation to try and extract the first public interview of a person that everyone wants to hear something from. And you've just come in and you've just done this. It's just, you've got to put a lot of that aside, put it to the side. You're here to conduct a professional outcome. And of course this is his, he's an egotistical person. He needs to feel like he is better in those situations. And if you know that, you can use that to your benefit. Use it to your fucking benefit. Right? I'll repeat that. If you know what you have as an advantage on you've got game tape on the person, behaves in one manner majority of the time, why not use it to your advantage? Insane. We'll watch the rest because I'll let it play out. And but I think we're seeing the same pattern. I'm going to keep repeating the same things. I think we've got to understand that from this interview, what I can summarize and what I wrote some stuff down as I was saying, as I was talking, is to take away that if you know, let me go back one step. I framed it as strategy, right? And a strategy to an interview can achieve some incredible outcomes and incredible leverage, which you cannot do through brute force and whatever other mechanism you want to use. So, if you have a strategy, if you know a person is behaving in a certain way, and that's why I chose Andrew Tate's interview, because you know there is a repeatable pattern, there's a type of behavior, there is a type of response and trigger that this man has. You have got to come in with a better strategy to extract the best outcome. And the strategy that she had right in front of her was using receipts, was bringing in receipts. There was just the evidence. Bring it up. Had she had that, it would have been a very different outcome. She argues instead of pinning. She widens instead of narrowing, and she allows him to control the tempo. He continuously frame switches to the one thing that he knows he can hold as a very credible piece of evidence in his corner, in his position. And that is what he kept saying, the 0 crimes that he has been charged with from any female ever. And if he can frame switch to that and you allow him to frame switch to that, and it's fine, that is something credible and it might be true and it's factual and whatever, and happy days. And if that's what you want to extract out of the interview, let him pivot to that point. But don't start here and then let him go there. Don't start here, let him go there, because you are getting absolutely nothing out of it. Okay? And if you want to extract the best outcome in an interview, in my personal opinion, if you can build enough rapport as quickly as possible, as fast as possible, with the enough pretext at the top, through body language, through being on their side, mannerisms, eye contact, there's a lot of things. And obviously, back to jaskysing.com, jump on there. I can help with all of those things. I onboard 5 people every month, the whole thing, right? You can go in, I'm happy to give you training, or you can get an AI coach version if you can't afford to go with the one-to-ones, and that's okay. There's a plethora of tools in your arsenal to try and achieve something meaningful out of an interview. But you've got to be able to set the pretext by having a level of rapport. By just building a fucking connection, just some connection. And if you can't do that, I don't think you are ever going to be able to get something unique and do your job as an interviewer / journalist in any meaningful manner. Now, let me play it out for the rest, and we'll just watch it while I drink the rest of this. 1.25 liters to be consumed in one live. Some sort of record, right?
For you to come here and sit down and pretend you're the Gestapo and that you don't have to answer my questions is disingenuous, because I don't owe you anything.
Asking questions and you answer.
But I don't owe, no,
however you want.
This is a conversation and I don't owe you any degree of authority over me. So let's make that clear. And that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or from the BBC or the CNN. I'm here to answer your questions and be honest with you and do you a favor.
Great.
And I'm doing you a favor. But you come here with loaded questions. You're trying to paint a narrative of me which is negative.
I'm asking you about things you've said that people are concerned about.
And that's fine. But you're not going to sit here and say you don't answer my questions because you're not above me.
Do you really believe you're the most influential man on the face of the planet?
I'm the most Googled person on the planet.
Do you believe you're the most influential man on the face of the planet?
I'm the most Googled man on the planet.
I think we're done.
Yep.
All the anger, she couldn't continue. There's just too much baggage that she came in with, that she was not able to put that baggage to the side. There are times I've interviewed people that have caused harm to other people I really don't like, people that have said horrible things, people that are racist, people that are all kinds of right? But to get something meaningful in that interview, you have to put your biases, the baggage that's going to get in the way of you achieving the outcome just to the side. And if you can't do that, it's not going to go anywhere, unfortunately. And let's see how this ends. He's fidgeting out of control. So you can see he's trying to control his nerves in that sense. Look, it could be a sense of focus. A lot of people fidget like I do to get, focus. So he could be, but in a time that he's smiling while a corresponding fidgety leg, there is, I think he can also feel the unnerving, awkward tension.
Thanks, Lucy. It was enjoyable. Nice to meet you.
Just a nod. She's not even saying thanks. He's giving you a fucking interview. You don't have to like the person. Doesn't matter who it is. Even a thanks. You just had a conversation. It's unbelievable.
Story. No, it was fun. It was good. I enjoyed it. De-mic me. I don't want to damage anything. Thank you.
Watch what happens after this. What happens?
Very nice to meet you. Thank you. Very nice to meet you. Goodbye. It's a very light staff.
Wow, she even, based on the caption of that video, she refused to even shake his hand. That's incredible. What a professional. So there it is. That's how not to interview someone. In fact, how not to interview a high dominance authority. That is a perfect manual in how not to do it. Because that was a complete shambles. That was a total mess. Total mess. So take care. See you on the next one. Goodbye. Thanks for joining me. And I didn't finish.